Alright, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be going over the BMF in every single weight class. Let's get started. The first weight division, flyweight, and I got Brandon Morvell. Now he's kind of like a mini Nate Diaz. He kind of fights like him, he acts like him, he talks like him. They might be from the same area, I don't know. But he always brings entertaining fights, or most of the time. The Pantoja fight, it was a little boring, but that definitely wasn't because of Royval. Royval was the one actually making it more entertaining. And then the Moreno fight was entertaining. His fight before that, who was against Mateus Nicolau, he knocked him out quickly. That was entertaining. He's always trying to throw some crazy shots on the feet. He's always trying to put the pace on you on the feet. And man, he's just a very good striker. I love seeing him strike. I love seeing him fight. He's a very skilled striker, and his chin. If we're talking about chin, his chin's all right. He's got a decent chin. He gets rocked a lot, but it's hard to finish him. Like you can rock him, but it's not easy to finish him. But if you look at the other people in this weight class, who else could be a BMF? Maybe Tim Elliott, maybe Manel Cap. Those are the only two other people. Maybe Muhammad Makayev. He's been finishing a lot of people. Actually, after that Alex Perez performance, no, probably not. But Tim Elliott, Manel Cap, I think they're good contenders. But if you're just looking at the BMF, the baddest motherfucker who will fight anybody, anytime, anywhere, always brings entertaining fights, fun on the feet, and has that BMF personality too, I would say Brandon Royval fits a character the most. But moving on. We got Bantamweight, Corey Sandhagen. Now I was just talking about how fitting a character for the BMF. This guy doesn't fit a BMF character in terms of personality, but he will fight anybody, anywhere, anytime, any place, and most of the time he brings an entertaining fight. Now Flyweight's a difficult one because Sean O'Malley, I get he brings entertaining fights all the time, but I feel like a lot of people would not like seeing him as a BMF. Like a lot of people just don't like him. Marab's a wrestler; he's not really a BMF. Aljo definitely not. Jan probably not. Cheeto there's actually some decent contenders in this weight division, but all these other guys denied the fight with Umar, or most of these other guys. Corey Sandhagen was the only person willing to fight Umar, and apart from the Rob Font and the Cheeto Vera fight, and the Cheeto Vera fight wasn't that bad, he brings super entertaining fights. The Jan fight, the TJ Dillashaw fight. Apart from those two exceptions, just get rid of those two exceptions, and he always brings an entertaining fight. And hopefully in his next fight he brings an entertaining fight. If he does another fucking boring wrestle fuck, then I'm probably gonna move him down and get a new BMF if I make this list again. But for now, he fights anyone, anytime, any place. 90% of the time brings an entertaining fight. Has some crazy striking. Does some crazy shit on the feet. The personality, not really. He's kind of a nerd, but I'll pass that up because his fighting and his ability to fight anybody puts him at number one for the BMF. Featherweight, I think this is obvious. Max Holloway. He's literally fighting for the BMF belt. But if you want to look at the other people in the division, you got Ilya, who's the champ. I mean, he's a good fighter, but he hasn't done anything crazy to prove he's a BMF. Volk, yeah, Volk, you could definitely argue he's a BMF, but I just put Max as a BMF because he's literally fighting for the belt. He's got an iron chin. He will eat any shot. He goes to fucking wars all the time, and he'll put a beating on people. Like his performance against Calvin Kattar, you can't say that's not a BMF performance. Like that's the most significant strikes landed. He was screaming at him mid-fight. That's a BMF performance, and he's literally fighting for the belt. So out of flyweight, I think Max Holloway is definitely the most worthy contender to be fighting for a BMF belt. A close second would be Volkanovski. You could maybe throw Josh Emmett in there. He's very powerful. He's very tough. There's a couple other guys in the mix, but man, Max Holloway's chin is just fucking insane. His striking's insane. And this guy isn't really a duck either. I haven't seen him deny a fight. So, moving up. Lightweight is kind of obvious, Justin Gaethje. He literally holds the BMF belt, so what am I supposed to say? Oh, Dustin Poirier, who we just knocked out for the BMF belt, should be the BMF champion? No, he literally just fought for the BMF belt and won. And he hits very hard. Is that a BMF? Yeah, I'd say it's a BMF thing, hitting really hard. And he always goes to war. That's my main thing with being a BMF, man. Going to war, anybody, anytime, any place. And personalities, that's a little bit of points too. But most of these guys, honestly, like Gaethje, Holloway, um, what's his name? Fuck, how am I forgetting his name? Sanhagen. They don't have really BMF personalities, but in the octagon, they definitely bring it. They definitely bring a BMF fight. So yeah, Gaethje always in fucking wars, gets crazy knockouts. That fucking head kick knockout over Dustin Poirier is crazy, and he literally holds the belt. So there's not really an argument for anybody else. But moving up, Welterweight, Kevin Holland. Now, he's another guy that will fight anybody, anytime, any place. This guy, like, offer him anybody, he'll fight them. He made his debut at 205. Right now he's fighting at 170. That's 35 pounds heavier. He probably walked in that octagon at under 200 pounds, or maybe 200 pounds at most. He probably had to drink water to get to weigh in at 205. Or I don't even know if he did weigh in at 205, and he took the fight. But you could say, oh, that was just, but he just keeps taking fights, like short notice, active as fuck, entertaining fighter too. Almost every time he fights, he brings an entertaining fight, active, fights anybody. He fits the category perfectly. Even his personality too. He's a nice guy, but he kind of fits the personality because he's getting into beefs a lot, man. The Masvidal beef, Hamzat and his team got into a beef, so he gets into conflicts with people a lot. But he's also a pretty nice guy too, so he's kind of 50-50 on the personality side. But with everything else, entertaining fights, always taking fights, fighting anybody, he's definitely a BMF. He has no fear of fighting anybody. You can say that for damn sure. Moving up, middleweight, I got Sean Strickland. Personality, he's kind of retarded, and I mean, I agree with some of the shit he says, but he is retarded in the way he says shit and just what he does. But his fight style, why did I put him as a BMF? I don't know. Let me look at the division. I just think there's not a lot of other people in that division. Like, I don't think Dricus is. And him and Dricus just went to war. They had a 50-50 fight. So if you want to choose Dricus, you could. But the way he beat the shit out of Adesanya, that was a BMF performance. Like, he was screaming in the octagon, yelling at him. He's active. His fighting style, he doesn't fear anybody. Like, now I'm starting to understand why I put him as a BMF, because I made this slide like a couple days ago. So I don't really remember exactly why I put him as a BMF, but now I'm starting to remember. He went in there with prayer, and even though he got knocked out, he tried to strike with him. That was a dumb game plan. But it's a BMF thing to do. It's a bad motherfucker going in there, trying to strike with this big fucking Brazilian guy that knocked out Izzy twice. Or at that point once. But that knocked out Izzy. And you're just going in there trying to fucking strike with him. And he got knocked out for it, but he learned from his mistake and he beat the shit out of Izzy. He was literally screaming at him in the middle of the fight. And he's active, always taking fights. Just went to war with Dricus du Plessis, the current champion. Schooled Izzy. He's definitely earned a slot for the BMF. Now, if you're looking at other contenders, Dricus is always putting on wars, but Dricus denied a lot of fights, man. The reason that Strickland got that win over Izzy was because Dricus denied the Izzy fight, and Dricus and Strickland fought right around the same time. Strickland was just ready to go and fight earlier than Dricus was, and their fights, they took a similar amount of damage. They both ended their fights in the second round, had a competitive first round, and then ended their fights in the second round. Dricus and Strickland, they had like fucking the same fight basically in terms of damage wise, and Strickland took the Izzy fight. So if you're looking at the BMF for middleweight, I would definitely go with Sean Strickland. Light heavyweight, Alex Pereira. Now, some of the other people in this division that could contend for the belt, Yuri for sure. Jamal Hill maybe a little bit. Yeah, I can see Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill, he's entertaining. He brings good fights. Very powerful. Has knockout ability, but Alex Pereira, man, his striking's insane. He's literally beaten like 5 champions and fucking what? I don't know the exact number, but he's beaten like a shit ton of champions in the span of like a year or two. He literally made his UFC debut like 2 years ago. Now he's already a double champ. What else did he do? He got knocked out by Izzy and then came back. He got knocked out bad too. He got knocked out fucking bad and then came back 3 months later and then fucking won his fight at light heavyweight and earned himself a title shot. He's active as fuck too, and he denied the Tom Aspinall fight, but apart from that, I don't see him denying any other fights. And the way he just hunted down Izzy too, like just went to and like the backstory of it. Izzy was like, "Oh, Alex Pereira, you're always gonna be at a bar drinking while I'm champion," and for Alex Pereira just to get out of the bar and then beat a bunch of contenders, just fucking start training and beat a bunch of contenders and kick the shit out of Izzy. That's a fucking good story, man. So I think this guy definitely earned a spot personality-wise. Doesn't really have a personality, just says chama, and no one can understand what he says because most people don't speak Brazilian. But yeah, in terms of his fight style, activity, his willingness to fight anybody, his story of getting into MMA, I think he's a BMF, man. I think he's a BMF. Heavyweight, I got Derek Lewis. Now, right now, he's a little washed. You could definitely go with Sergey Pavlovich. I would not mind you going with Sergey Pavlovich. He's been knocking everybody out in the first round apart from Tom Aspinall. But the reason I chose Derek Lewis is because he's just a fucking icon, man. Come on, it's Derek Lewis. And also, he's been around longer. Sergey Pavlovich has only been a top guy beating up people for like, what, a year or two? Derek Lewis has been doing this for years. He's been there, done that. He's been around for a while. And I don't know. I don't really. Is he active? He's somewhat active. But I don't know, man. His personality is just funny as fuck. He's just a BMF, bro. You don't need to explain it, bro. He's a fucking beast, bro. He's Derek Lewis. He's a fucking BMF. You can't argue with it. But anyways, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. Put who you guys think the BMF of every weight class is in the comments. And peace out.